very quickly. So here, as you see, even though Will dives, and so does Jack Campbell, he does a nice job right there, I think, of posting himself up. Look how he sits down right in this passing lane. He's right in the passing lane. This ball, you could try to throw a touch pass over top. He could try. He doesn't like it, pulls it down, throws the bubble. Now Cam Sutton is sitting there underneath, crashes down, takes it away. And you can see the accuracy wasn't even great because it seemed like he was hesitant. Like, I didn't want that. Then he throws. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another All-22 look at this Lions-Buccaneers game. And today, we are here to take a look at the defensive side of the ball for the Lions in this game. And man, this was a game that had some real back and forth in it, where at times you would say, look, the Lions looked like they were a step ahead. They gave them a disguised look defensively. They were showing maybe cover one. They dropped into something completely different, and they were able to get off the field. There was also some really big third down stops the Lions had. And coming into this game, Tampa Bay wasn't the best offense, but they had two really good receivers that at times won the battle, usually off schedule. And at other times, you looked at our corners and said, you know what? We handled that pretty well. Alex Anzalone had a monster game. And then also, they weren't a really good rushing team coming into this one. And that pretty much held true in this game for running backs. 13 carries for 35 yards. So that's not very good. They averaged 3 yards per carry coming into this game. As a team, they had 46 yards rushing. So I guess that's a little bit better. But for the most part, the Lions handled that outside of a couple of cutback lanes that were hit for some little chunks in there. One with Levi, where he kind of got cut block and they were a little bit behind on the play. But for the most part, the Lions did their job there. Kind of also got them out of running the football because they were in a 2-score hole once again in this game. But there was some real back and forth here. I thought going defensively, where at times you thought the Lions were a step ahead. Other times, like, okay, the Buccaneers had a response to what they had seen. So there was a lot of that. And other times it was just, hey, that's just a player making a play. And sometimes they missed things on offense. Sometimes we came through and forced them away from certain things. And this first play I actually want to show is just the example of that. Players making plays. I thought the most consistent pass rush that we had in this game was actually from the interior. Aleem McNeil specifically, some Benito Jones. You got a little bit of Isaiah Buggs. At time you get some John Kaminsky. And then, of course, on pass down looks, we would throw different looks onto the field. I think the most consistent pass rush the Lions had was from the interior. Now, for them, they did a pretty good job. Number one, they have good offensive tackles, Gadecki and also Tristan Wirfs. But also on top of that, they did a good job helping out. I thought their tackles, utilizing a running back or a tight end, chipping, kind of pushing us inside. They did a nice job doing some things like that. And at times, I didn't think we had the cleanest blitzing plays, like just the way that it was executed. But other times, we got free rushers in there, which was key. The point is, though, this interior defensive line needed to show up because they had question marks on the interior, specifically at guard. And this is a good example of that. Now, we got a lot of different defensive front looks from the Lions in this game, like this one, for example, where you're going to see John Kaminsky in that 4-eye technique, shading the offensive tackle inside. Same thing with Aleem McNeil. So a little bit of a different look. We don't always see that from the Lions. And then you have a straight up zero technique. He's playing head up with the center and Benito Jones. So it's a little bit of a different look up front. Now you're going to see Jerry Jacobs in the box. That's because there's no receiver on his side of the field. The tight end's in line, so he just steps inside the box here. But usually when you get this look, you can free up kind of the middle field defenders. So usually the nose tackle will take one of the A gaps, and then one of these off-ball linebackers will crash the other A gap, and that's what happens here. Alex Anzalone takes away the right side A gap, and then Benito Jones takes away the left side A gap on this play. And then again, both of these, really defensive tackle, defensive end, they handle kind of the B gap on this play. You also have Jack Campbell outside here. So Derek Barnes gets kind of freed up, so does Jack Campbell. A big part of this is kind of those split zone looks. And again, we had a couple cutback lanes that were given up in this game, so it wasn't perfect. But on this first play, I did want to shout out that defensive line handling business. And you can start with Aleem McNeil here, working on this left tackle. You can see it, jump into his position, boom, and watch him sink on this, okay? The flexibility of Aleem McNeil, watch him sink down. So we talk about the quickness, the movement skills that he's shown this year. Well, how about this? Handling that offensive guard, sitting himself down, stacks it up, sheds off it, and okay, he wins his block. Then Benito Jones, you get him right up here at the center, gets in front of the center, gets contact, sits himself down, stack and shed. Now he's there to make the play. And then John Kaminsky. It wasn't perfect for Kaminsky, I didn't think, consistently, but he gets inside of the tackle on this play, rips right there, then he's also in on this one as well. And the Lions do a really good job stopping this run for a minimal gain. So that was just a good example. We know Alex Anzalone had a monster game in there, but the defensive line usually comes back to that. And for a lot of it, I thought the Lions did a really good job specifically against the run. Next guy that I want to show off, of course, is Duracell. It's Alex Anzalone. He's working here in the slot for the Lions. Now they're going to go into a Tampa 2 look. We did see a lot of zone coverage, but there was also a pretty good amount of man mixed in there as well. Specifically, I thought on third downs, playing man coverage and bringing some heat. I thought that was kind of a normal in this game, but there was also a lot of this. Here you get an empty look, so the Lions go into zone coverage. I thought playing kind of the cover 2, the Tampa 2, maybe the cover 6 looks would help them a ton in terms of they would be able to keep a flat defender, and it helped them on some of those underneath quick hitters. I thought it was one of the Lions' plans coming into this game was to take that away. Well, here with that in the slot, that means you have one-on-one with Alex Anzalone, and you're going to see he's inside leverage, and the slot receiver is going to release towards Alex Anzalone, but he does a great job here of, as you can see at the top of the route, he's going to try to get him to bite outside. He does not bite outside. He sticks to the inside leverage, doesn't give that up, and you can see when he breaks inside, he's right on top of it. Good coverage, contested, won't give him the pass break up there. I mean, you can if you want, but he breaks it up, I guess, on the play. Very good coverage there from Alex Anzalone. Here we get a 3rd and 9 look defensively. We talked about showing some of that man coverage on 3rd down. This would be an example of it. Now, they basically get Alex Anzalone one-on-one with the running back. Okay, there's a lot going on, but that's really the key to this, is they get that isolated matchup one-on-one with the running back, and he's going to run this wheel route, and Alex Anzalone is going to get a pass breakup. Now, you notice on the top of the screen here, this is something we see them do a ton. We talk about it all the time. The number 3 receiver, that inside slot, Tracy Walker working over top of that. Then you have your inside or off-ball linebacker, Derek Barnes, who's going to play it underneath. Then it goes vertical. He's going to pass it off. Now, here's the key on this one, okay, because they actually do have an open receiver, and the reason they do is because the number 2 receiver here is actually going to push upfield, and he's going to push across the face of Will Harris. And once he does that, you're going to see as he starts to drag the middle, Tracy then is going to step down and carry that route and pick it up. That allows Will Harris to pass it off and then drop back outside. But that's where you get this little out route. So we've seen this. I think it's a little bit different than what Green Bay did, but Green Bay did it before the half where we give them this look and they utilize kind of this outbreaking route to pull the safety away from it and then get this open space. We've seen a team do this to us before, having a plan for what they're seeing pre-snap, and you can see Tampa Bay seemingly had a pretty good plan because they had him open. Now, Derek Barnes carried it as long as he could, which was nice. He tried to stick under it a little bit here, but ultimately Baker Mayfield is forced to get away from that. Why? Sometimes your players just got to make plays, and Aiden Hutchinson did that here. Now, he got a weird little jump on this play, but he still ultimately got pressure on that right guard, Cody Mao. We seem to have the most success kind of going at him. There's the bull rush, then the rip. He gets pressure here, forces Baker to slide away and take this one-on-one shot. Alex Anzalone does a great job in coverage. Here you can see Kirby Joseph. Jerry Jacobs is going to match up with the slot. Kirby Joseph reading that, releases upfield. He drops out then. It's kind of that single high look, but that isolates one-on-one with Alex Anzalone. And then again, it's really just 2 players here to me just making a play. Duracell and Aiden Hutchinson making a play here, not allowing to get to the open route on the far side of the field, and instead you get an incomplete pass and the Lions are off the field. This will be the interception that the Lions came up with. It's Will Harris that gets the interception. You're going to see him fill the pulling spot for the offensive lineman, and they did a really good job. You could see it coming into this game that they would do a really nice job of trying to utilize motion, play action, also pulling offensive linemen to really try to get you to bite and then hit those kind of second level shots. We talked about the different fronts that the Lions would utilize to try to free the middle of the field, kind of create a triangle in the middle of the field. That way the Lions could cover it up a little bit. But here they're pulling out everything on this play. So they use the quick look, which sets up like a screen. It shows screen here. The Lions are going into a quarters look defensively, so they're creating like that umbrella quarters look. Jerry Jacobs starts to kind of crash down here with this screen fake. Now, there's actually no blocker on this play. He's not blocking. He's just running up the seam. And it's a pretty nice job because you give him that fake play action, right, which pulls down Will Harris, tied along with the puller on this play, so everybody kind of bites down. Then here, instead of lining up to just, maybe go block Kirby Joseph on the play, instead, he releases vertical. He just goes right over top of Kirby. So you can see him kind of slow play it, slow himself up there. Then you get the screen fake, so Jerry starts to walk himself down. Then you get a little pump fake here. Now Kirby Joseph dives down, and that's really get over top. No one then is over top of this route, and that's why this thing really opens up here. But Will Harris does a nice job here of dropping back immediately, trying to get some depth on this play, but it's really Isaiah Buggs. And this is what they talked about coming into the game, being able to transition from playing to run to get some pass rush. Here he is on the center. Plays the run immediately with the play fake, but then immediately gets into that pass rush look, and he just basically gets into passing lane a little bit here of Baker Mayfield. Boom, gets contact, shrugs him off a little bit, and now he gets a little bit of an edge on the center, and then it's about him just fighting through and getting his left hand on this football to tip it up into the air. Kirby was kind of taken by everything on this play. When you go back to the pulling offensive lineman, you see his eyes on the play fake. He's now looking down, and you're going to see they're going to run kind of this little over route, and you get the little pump fake, but it's really not fake to anybody on this play. I could see if it was faked here to the tight end, but it wasn't. He's just crashing down on this play, and again, you have no one over top on this one, so it had a chance, but it was tipped up into the air and picked off. What I liked about this play was kind of the adjustment here from Kirby Joseph, because we had seen this. It was the first really chunk play that they hit. We were trying to get the stream figured out, but it was the first chunk play that they hit was a cover 3 look, and Kirby Joseph was kind of late to take away the over route, kind of that crossing route on the middle of the field, and he made the tackle, but he was late to make a play and take away the first look on the pass here. But this time, you could see kind of the adjustment there to be very aware of of it, step in front of it, and in this case, he took it away on this play. Now, you're going to have the receiver motion across here, so that pulls Tracy Walker down, and they set up a cover 3 look here, so they're going to actually go into a cover 3 look defensively with the safety playing that flat on the outside. Then they utilize the jet motion across. You're going to see that here. Now, what you also get is a tight end's going to go vertical, so of course, that's where Jerry Jacobs is going to go, but immediately he's going to start to work outside to get depth, seeing that fast motion coming his way. Now, as that thing rolls into the flat and not upfield, Derek Barnes, I think, does a really nice job of instantly racing out there to take that away. He's the flat defender, instantly takes that thing away when they flip it. So instead of having your safety in the flat, now it's their linebacker, and he takes that away. Now, Jerry's got to get upfield and get vertical, and you can see there's a lot of cushion that's created on this play. You can see Jack Campbell does a nice little job of, I think, getting some depth here underneath the play on the ball. Tight end stays in the block, drop back, gives some depth, maybe get into a potential passing lane if that was the case. But this was set up to hit the crossing route, and you can see here they're going to run this deep post, then they're going to run a cross over top of it, and it's really good communication to back in. We pointed out some plays like that from Cam Sutton this past game, and here it is, another example here. There's the play fake. Look at Kirby recognize it, and he's driving down immediately on this. See, the receiver immediately releases vertical, kind of walks it up, and as soon as he starts to break inside, as the quarterback begins to roll around, Kirby is immediately diving down on top of it. There's the communication. Now you have help toward the opposite side, which is why Jerry doesn't really come into the equation here, and he's fine on this play because Cam Sutton takes that away, but they take away the crossing route. We talked about taking away that first read. That was a really nice job of, I think, taking away that first read. And then they get a little bit of pressure here from John Kaminsky, Alex Anzalone closing it off, but Kirby Joseph finishes the play as well. So he drives down on it, but he sticks with the route. That's what I like about this one. Sticks with it, tips it up in the air. And the Lions were buzzing that cover 3 look, and this was the other look that I thought we got on third down occasionally in this game, is the safeties roll down. Now, in this case, I kind of cut it off, but before the snap, they show everybody on the sticks. Okay, they have both safeties here, everybody's even, and then right at the snap, as he's going into that cadence, Tracy Walker begins to drop out, and they're going into cover 3. Alex Anzalone's going to race into the flat here. You can see how fast he gets depth, but they all drop back essentially to the sticks. They all sit on the sticks. They know where they're at depth-wise. Then you have Kirby Joseph kind of buzzing down, playing over the middle of the field, covering up the slot. But the real key to me, again, on this one is Jerry Jacobs, okay? Sometimes it's just making good plays in coverage. And here is that outside third. He kind of gets singled up with Mike Evans on this play to push back inside, which you would think, okay, now he's going to run a run over top. Then break back outside. This is where Mike Evans is really good at the top of the route. He creates a lot of separation, and he did. You know, there was a play on Jerry Jacobs in this game where he got some space at the top of the route. But here, then breaking back outside, sitting down, Jerry sticks with that really well. You know, he's not flying over his feet. He's sticking with him on this play really well. He had some really good moments of this, just staying right there in his hip. Really like the coverage depth here of Derek Barnes as well. But then it's also the pressure. And, you know, a lot of times they can come back to this. You take away that first read, then can we kind of flush him out? And in this case, they do. They drop out Alex Anzalone, who initially is occupying the guard. So now his attention goes to John Kaminsky, who's now crossing the face of the center, and he's going to go right into that guard. Now, with that being said, if you notice pre-snap, the Lions put 3 guys on one side of the line of scrimmage. Over here, they overload that left side of the field with Julian, Hutchinson, John Kaminsky. Now, they were using, you know, receivers, tight ends, backs to chip in our edge rushers, kind of flush them and squeeze them into the inside. So that's what they do here. But what that does is the center's attention now goes to that side of the field, and that frees up Charles Harris to spin off the left tackle on this play like this and then work back inside. Kaminsky then bull rush, trying to kind of flush him out, and then it's Aiden Hutchinson with the awareness to kind of track this thing down off the backside here. Things get a little ugly over here, but he sees it and he tracks it down, uses that speed, and forces him out of bounds. Alex Anzalone would have been there as well. This would be another good example of the communication within the back end here. This is, again, Alex Anzalone on this play, racing out here to take away this flat route by the running back and covering it up, getting another pass breakup on the running back. They bring Tracy Walker off the edge. Now, I don't think this was an immediate design to just blitz Tracy Walker. You can see they're stacking the line of scrimmage on this play, but if you notice, they have 2 guys that are eligible to go out for a route here. They have 2 tight ends in line on this play, but neither of them do, and we talked about this coming in, is when they do this, they kind of go to that max protect look. They leave multiple guys in the block. That's when you have to, again, go from playing to run to rush the passer. And in this case, I think kind of a similar thing applies here for a guy like Tracy Walker. Transition says, I'm going to go get that quarterback. Now, it's also Derek Barnes on this play, who's playing right through number 41, the inline player on this, on the inside, right off the offensive tackle, and he's just driving him back. I mean, that is nasty on that play. So they end up getting some heat off the backside of this play action look. But again, downfield, what you're also getting is excellent coverage from the 3 defensive backs. Again, watch here. Kirby Joseph sees it immediately release inside. You can see the the receiver is going on this play, so immediately he steps down, takes that away. Then that allows Jerry Jacobs to pass it off, work back upfield, and Cam Sutton can give it to Jerry Jacobs as it runs that way. So now you have just great coverage here. It's 3-on-2, but it's really good coverage. You take that away, and again, the only real option here is the isolated 1-on-1, and that's where Alex Anzalone does a nice job of seeing it and racing out there to get on top of this route, just tracking down the running back, just sticking with him on this play, and then again, beautiful. I love the timing of that. You see how he kind of like tiptoed into that? He didn't just ram into the running back. Like the patience here to kind of like walk it up, get in his hip, and then bam, the timing. That thing was pretty. It was pretty from Alex. I want to jump in here and talk a little bit about our partnership for this season with BetUS, a leading online betting platform offering a wide range of sports betting and casino games, from the most popular sports, basketball, baseball, of course football, that's the time right now, all the way to esports. Well known for their security, reliability, and customer service, which I had a great experience with firsthand, them reaching out to me because they didn't want me to miss out on a deal once I signed up. And it's very easy to sign up. Use that top link in the description. You deposit at least $100, you can get a 125% match. You click that link, it'll take you to a page where you click bet now, and in 3 pages you can be signed up with BetUS. There's also tons of different ways to bet with BetUS. Outside of casino games, if you want to go the sportsbook route, you can go to pre-game betting, whether that's over-unders, spreads. You can utilize prop bets, which we do shorts on now every week, some of the game props that I like for each upcoming Lions game, all the way to live betting and parlays, which are just a ton of fun, just to see what kind of crazy idea you can come up with. And there's tons of different little features in there which I really like for example, the props builder, where you can build out a prop with a specific player. Maybe you think Khalif Raymond's going to have a big day. You can build out a player prop for that player, whether that's receptions or yards, maybe it's touchdowns. So have tons of different ongoing promotions available right now, whether you're a new customer or you're a existing customer that's just re-upping with BetUS. There's tons of different promotions that are available right now. My favorite parts of BetUS is their loyalty program. If you place wagers on BetUS, you can work your way up tiers on BetUS, earning different rewards such as bigger bonuses or welcome free play or free payouts. And utilize that top link in the description. I know a lot of you guys already bet during the NFL season, so if you want to follow along with the shorts that I make and maybe some of the bets that I like for the week, click that top link, sign up with BetUS. At very least, you don't even need to deposit money right away. You can just look around, just see what's kind of out there, just take a look at the website, but it's definitely worth doing, especially if you're already betting. Again, if you have any questions like customer service issues, they have an FAQ on their website that you can go to, or you can get into contact with them utilizing live chat, email, and phone support. So again, shout out to BetUS for supporting this channel, our partner for the NFL season, and let's get back to the video. Here, this wasn't a blitz, but it was a cover one look defensively. You're going to see Kirby Joseph. They had to flip safeties here. We had a lot of safeties matched up at times on receivers. In this case, we have Tracy Walker matched up with their tight end, Cade Otton here. So it was always a little different, but the point is we're going cover one defensively, so we have an underneath zone linebacker. That's Derek Barnes. He's kind of giving that out inside help, so you have an outside leverage Will Harris, and then you have a pure one-on-one here on the field side here. Now, notice Kirby Joseph, he's kind of peeking on this play. You can see him kind of working here. It could also be to bracket in Mike Evans once you get to this part of the field as well. That would make sense to me. You can see him kind of peeking here. Tight end works a little bit outside. You can see him keeping an eye on Mike Evans. Mike Evans works outside. But also, I think really this the pacing with Kirby Joseph. One thing that I take away when you watch him is his feel for distance and like depth. Like how much ground can I cover in this amount of time? How much space can I actually give up here? And I think that's the most impressive thing with Kirby. When you talk about being a ball hawk, he just understands how much room and how much grass he can cover and how much time. So he can kind of really feel, he has a real feel for when he needs to break, when he needs to leave, things like this, right? Breaking over the middle of the field, here comes the slant. Now the off ball underneath zone linebacker's there, but as it clears him, now Kirby's stepping over into it. But then it's Jerry Jacobs on an island. And again, talk about a player just making a play defensively. This is another player making a play defensively. He's got the slot, Tompkins on him. Not maybe the best route runner, but man, he can move, okay? This guy has a ton of speed, and you can see him cover this thing up. And we talk about the balance, just moving with it, but not over adjusting, not overreacting to sell vertically there, and he just sits in his stance, doesn't even take a step. There's not even an extra step. He's not even being forced to break back down. But I think also some of that could be come back to understand the sticks. He's in press, which I just think he's much more comfortable in press. I think that's just where he likes to live, is in those press spots. But just understand they only need 3 yards on this play, being very patient with it, sitting with this route, boom, right there in the hip, steps in front of it, and he almost picks this thing off. That, I mean, it is beautiful coverage. And again, within 5 yards, you get some physicality in there. I think that's where Jerry Jacobs lives. This is one of of the little things that I thought that Tampa Bay did in this game. They hit us with it twice. They did some different things here, but with these RPO looks, the offensive line is working upfield, and of course they're getting these quick little hitters off us with the quick play fake pull and then deliver the pass like a baseball player would. But I thought the Lions had an adjustment to really just how they aligned the second time they saw this round, and they were able to take away. But this first time they completed, and we're going to see it right here. Now, I wish I would have showed the other view of this because I put it in like this, like, oh, this look cool. But then I was like, wait a minute, you can't really see everything. So I'll just tell you what I'm seeing on this. So you see the alignment by the front. You got the 9 technique with Hutchinson. You got the 3 technique here. This is the same look the Lions are going to give next time on the weak side of the formation. However, here's the difference, okay? You're going to see Jack Campbell towards the strong side, right? We get that. But the difference is this. John Kaminsky right now, he's head up with the tight end. Now, he's playing as a head-up edge rusher on this play, standing up. He's head up with the tight end. Will Harris then is in the slot. They're almost creating a 2-on-1 here because we're not dropping John Kaminsky out. You can see that he dives down. There's the play fake on the run. It's going to pull Jack Campbell because he's got a run lane to fill. So they create a 2-on-1. They can run it to the flat, or in this case, they can run it right up the seam and hit him on the play, and then they can have another slot receiver. So now he's got 2 things to worry about. And when the Lions go into, even if it's the same coverage, I think here they went into like a cover 6 look defensively, the safety bails out. So now he's got 2 things to worry about underneath, especially when they give a 3-by-1 look. So they cover it, so they end up getting a quick little hitter on us.
A lot of teams do this, not just the Lions, but this was a tendency in this game. When they got a 3-by-1 look from the offense here with that tight end in line on that strong side of the formation, they would go cover 6, cover 2 to the 3 receiver side. So that outside corner could sit into the flat. The safety would then bail out, get over top, and that's why you create the 2-on-1 with Will Harris. So if Will Harris is playing the slot, and then all of a sudden the tight end releases outside and bubbles back inside, you're creating a 2-on-1, and that safety is leaking outside. He's not sitting, aggressively like a quarters look, like you would like right on top of the slot or the tight end. So you're getting a 2-on-1.
Now I'm going to go forward a little bit and just skip right to the play. That way you can see what I thought was a difference the next time we saw it. Now look at how the Lions aligned this time. It's a completely different alignment on the strong side of the formation. So you still have, your 3 technique. You still got the 9 here. You still got Alex Anzalone on the weak side of the formation. But the difference is you can see Jack Campbell. He's across from the tight end a little bit inside of the tight end, looks like on this play in that off-ball position. John Kaminsky now is no longer on top of the tight end. Now he's towards the inside. Now he's really playing like a 4-eye. He's inside shading that tackle on this play. And now Will Harris is sitting inside of the slot receiver. Jack Campbell's right across from the tight end. So now you almost get more bodies to the look. And then you're going to see defensively what they're going to go into here is still a cover 6. Safety drops up to get over top, and that allows Cam Sutton to dive down and take away this little bubble that they set up, but with no screen. They weren't tying a screen. They were just running a bubble. He's able to drive down and take this away because he's going to have that safety over top. But it takes away the big hitter, which was the seam. That's where they were getting us, the tight end. He would release outside and then he'd push vertical. Now, you could still say he could have arguably hit the shot. But, as you see here, the ball's got to get out quickly because the offensive line's getting upfield. You can't let them get downfield and then throw it. It's not going to work. You have to get the ball to your hands very quickly. So here, as you see, even though Will dives, and so does Jack Campbell, he does a nice job right there, I think, of posting himself up. Look how he sits down right in this passing lane. He's right in the passing lane. This ball, you could try to throw a touch pass over top. He could try. He doesn't like it, pulls it down, throws the bubble. Now Cam Sutton is sitting there underneath, crashes down, takes it away, and you can see the accuracy wasn't even great because it seemed like he was hesitant, like, I didn't want that, and then he throws it. He's like, I want that, and then he throws it the other way. That, to me, was a little tweak the Lions made. Similar coverage just to take away that quick little hitter. They hit us with it twice. I thought it was a little bit of a back and forth. So at times they'd have answers for us. Lions were going cover 4. Here they go to a quarters look defensively. They're going to blitz the slot. They pick it up. Now there's a little pressure. There's a little game there inside with Benito Jones, Lee McNeil. Benito gets some pressure. I think he actually gets a hit on the quarterback on this play. But really, yeah, I think he does on that play. But really the key is the coverage here because, again, you're in this quarters look, and you can see what they set up here. They basically get a one-on-one created at the bottom here with Kirby Joseph on one of their speedy slots. We're running 4-3 type of speed. All right, that's going to be a very tough matchup there with Trey Palmer, so he gets over top. Now, they didn't connect on these, luckily, but as you're going to see on this play with the coverage, basically they get this one-on-one because this route's going to occupy Tracy, and because you're not in cover 2, but you're in quarters, right? You're all playing a quarter of the field. If Tracy pulls down and doesn't see the opposite side, this is one-on-one. And if you have a safety trying to cover the entire field against a guy that runs a 4-3, that's just not a good matchup. Now, Kirby, I think he does a really good job understanding how far and how quickly he can travel a certain distance, but you can get him at the top of the routes against speed like that when he's in a back pedal. And in this case, they do get him at the top of the route. But I will say, you always got to account for the pressure. And because, again, sometimes it takes just that little bit from a player making a play. Because Benito was crashing through the way he was, Aleem got an initial push there, and he's able to hit the quarterback, disrupt him, but it kind of claps the pocket on him. Now, you brought a blitz split, so you expect it to, but you kind of collapse it right in his face, right where he's throwing from. The ball is overthrown on this play, and you get the stop. This is a look that the Lions were showing, and at times they would show different guys being uncovered. Like, for example, we talked about the running back during the game, where the running back was uncovered. Just a different way. Lions show this across the board, then they drop out into what looks like a Tampa 2 coverage. Here you have your underneath corners. That's why Cam Sutton dives down, gets aggressive. Both these guys are going to drop out, so you get an inverted look here because Will Harris is going to drop out, so is Tracy Walker, your natural safety, but this is your slot doing that. Then your other safety, Kirby Joseph, is going to drive down, take the middle of the field away. Now they're going to try to set up a tunnel screen, which makes sense looking at the numbers, but the Lions are going to drop out both backers. Now I like the path here that Derek Barnes took, kind of looping around. Maybe he would have had a chance on that play, but maybe not, because honestly, if this thing is caught, he's going to get upfield. It would have been very difficult to get this stop with Kirby rolling down. So it was a fine read to get into. But in this case, and after seeing the other one, you understand why they did it. Again, they did a good job with answers. I sound like a broken record, but a guy just making a play. Julian Okwara's recognition. He's rushing off the edge. Lions only bring 4, but you can see on display with the tight end leaving, the awareness of Julian Okwara to be able to stop himself and step in the passing lane. Ball comes out, plants, gets his hand up, bam, quick reaction, gets us off the field on the 3rd down. A player just making a play. To me, this is one of those cases where they just got us at the top of the route. Another cover 3 look here defensively from the Lions. You can see the safety roll down. He's going to go into the flat. Then we're going to drop out Jack Campbell kind of underneath. And what I do like about Derek Barnes is that even though he crashes down and takes a couple steps, I love the way that he turns his back. Kind of gives me a sense of almost, I think it was Levante David that would do this, who had an excellent game in this game. But when he would get behind like this, he'd take it off. He would scream into coverage, face guard, but he'd get himself back into that position. But in this case, it's going to go the opposite way again. Mike Evans at the top of the route. He's tricky. Now notice what we talked about. Kirby was stepping down, taking that thing away. Well, this one gets a little bit of a pause here. Here's why. So he's going to release, show inside. Kirby's like, oh, okay, I got that. Then he pushes back upfield. So Kirby's like, okay, wait a minute, let me drop back out. And then he sits it down. So Derek Barnes gets over top and takes it away. But all that does is it creates an open receiver here because he's one-on-one with Jerry. They isolate it again by using this running back, who Alex Anzalone, because he's an underneath zone defender who's got the flat, he's going to pull down to take that away. He always does. You can see it when you watch him back. He always does that. And then they also have the split zone going on here as well, which I think pulls down eyes first and forces Derek Barnes to then retreat the way that he does. But ultimately gets this one-on-one with Jerry. And I don't think it was the worst coverage. He just doesn't have any underneath help in this play, and there's really no safety help because he's kind of watching the opposite side receiver, and he ends up not actually going across the middle of the field. They don't actually flip this. So instead of earlier when they were running crossing routes and the Lions were covering it well, they said, you know what, we're going to show that. We're going to show that he's going to go vertical. You're going to see the inside release, so he's going to want to step down and take that away, and then we're just going to curl him back both to the ball. So you're going to give you no help. And to me, again, it's a really good adjustment by the offense. Sometimes they do that. They made a good adjustment, and they got the big chunk play. But the defense got to step up, and that's what they do here. So again, one-on-one with Mike Evans, safety sliding that way. I think, again, giving some potential inside help on this play. Lions are going to man up here, and this is the offensive pass interference. And this one was really key. This one was really key because it backed them up. It would have been a 3rd and 3 or like a 4th and 3, but to get an offensive pass interference, back them up, the amount of yards, 10 yards that we did, it set everything up for us to get off the field and force a field goal here. Now you can see there is an inline tight end. Alex crashes down. I think Tracy may have his eyes on that a little bit here with the play fake, but also it's really good coverage from Sutton. He's sitting outside leverage, probably because he has a little bit of help here on the inside from Tracy. He loves to play that half turn, so he opens himself up. Mike Evans immediately is going to walk it. Now he's going to release vertically, gets in his blind spot, and watch him just set over top of it. Boom. And then there's the offensive pass interference. He's beating him to the spot. He's playing excellent coverage. He's so natural here. He does a really good job. This is just the technique that he plays. And right there, he does an excellent job as well. And again, Lions get no PI, which is honestly better than just the incomplete pass there. That was beautiful. Honestly, this one was just a really cool adjustment by Mike Evans at the top of the route, so I just want to show it. But at the same time, I think the play fake got us a little bit. They pull the 2 offensive linemen. They fake it. Linebackers bite. Now, notice Jerry Jacobs. If he has that kind of quarters look, I think that's why he does it, because he sees like, okay, no one's vertical on my side of the field, so I'm actually going to leave my side. I'm just going to go chase over here. So I kind of like that little adjustment for him to just take off the other way and be like, let me go help out if I can on this play as it kind of breaks down and Baker starts to roll out. But underneath, you're going to see maybe a little bit late to pass this thing off here, because as you get kind of maybe this little drag route underneath here with the linebackers, Derek Barnes picks it up, and then by the time he gives it to Jack Campbell and just like says, okay, release and then go, Derek Barnes maybe could have already taken off and disrupted Baker, but he's still running with the route. Then he takes off when he gets in front of the guard, but he's still running with the route here on this play. So it was a cool play play design, because not only do they fake the pulling offensive lineman for play action, but they slide someone out to kind of lead block for the quarterback. But you would still, I think, want him to disrupt a little bit. But he gets in front, then he races down. Now, the coverage wasn't bad, but it was the top of the route. And I thought it was just crafty here. If you notice on this play, Evan's going to run this like little out route, and it's covered up pretty well here. He doesn't like it, so he kind of sticks with it. But notice the trust that he has with Baker. I mean, because instead of like running back to the football, just keeping running back to football like most receivers would probably do, he actually stops, works back upfield, kind of pushes into him, and then breaks back to the ball. And Baker's like, understanding that he's going to do that. I'm not going to throw it away. He's not leaving. He's going to come back to this ball. I thought that was just pretty darn awesome, to be honest with you. Nice little toe tap. Just an awesome adjustment by a great receiver. This is cover one defensively. What would happen? Well, the running back would be uncovered on this play, or one of these off-ball linebackers that are actually more so on the ball right now in the A-gaps on this play is going to have to pick it up, right? Something's going to have to happen, or there's going to have to be some sort of communication to pass everything off here on this two-receiver side. So you get this look pre-snap, and then again, look what the Lions do. They drop out of it. They go into the cover 6 look, and that's where you get the flat defender there with Jerry. So even if this thing is completed, he's going to be there in the flat. So they did a nice job of, I thought coming into that, look at that, Baker Mayfield does a nice job with his hot reads, finding it. If he sees pressure pre-snap, he does a nice job getting it away. It's almost like the Lions kind of used that to kind of bait him, like, okay, instead of just, understanding that aspect, we're actually going to be like, he's going to recognize this, so we're going to make him think that he has it, and then he's not going to have it. And that's because we're going to go into zone like this, into this cover 6 look, which means that he's the flat defender on this play. It also bring Kirby Joseph on this blitz, so again, you're also losing a defender over here. So I think once that gets into your face, you're like, okay, I got to get the ball off, and then Derek Barnes drops middle, so now you're just seeing the running backs open because you're taking away Mike Evans. So again, you kind of baited him to just have to throw the ball that way because I think of what you're showing him. And then again, you get another tip at the line of scrimmage here. I think this may have been Charles Harris, but Kaminsky got through. Kirby may have also got it. I think Kirby actually may have got it from rushing. How about it look like this? Now, we gave up the completion. Again, late reception by Mike Evans. That's just where he was living in this game. I mean, we took away initially, so that's good, but he made some late receptions. And it's going to go at Cam Sutton here on this play. But the thing that I love about this one is just Cam Sutton's awareness. I know he didn't make the play, but it's just kind of the ability to read the quarterback's eyes while playing through his man, because he's in this half-turn look. So here he is, opens up, and I love this ability because he knows the Lions are in man coverage. So Alex Anzalone, who's showing inside the box, showing blitz on this play, is going to drop out and take the back. So he knows they're in man. He knows that he's got the flat guy, and he'd probably anticipate that Baker's going to go that direction with it. And that's what he shows on the play. Baker looks that way, fakes this little flat route, does not want to go there. Alex is on top of that. Now Hutchinson, also a nice little spin move, kind of flushes Baker out of the play on this one on the right tackle. And you're going to see right here as he sees the ball looking like it's coming out, he's going to drop this thing off. He was going to give support here to take away the running back. He's not just completely locked into his man where he's not seeing what's going on. Now, if you're seeing on this backside what's going on, well, as we talked about, tight ends in line with a linebacker over top, so Tracy's going to sit over top if that release is vertical. It does not, so Jack Campbell sticks with it. However, on the backside here, you have Kirby Joseph. He begins to drop out. I thought at first maybe he was reading through the tight end, see if he went and started running like a deep crosser, that way he could give help on the inside, or if really anybody did, because that way they're not just chasing, with that outside leverage, understanding that Tracy Walker's playing this vertically, so for whatever reason this thing went upfield, and then all of a sudden you had a crossing route underneath it, now Kirby Joseph could step in front and try to take that thing away. I thought that's maybe what they were doing initially on this play. You could see that leaves Jerry Jacobs kind of isolated one-on-one here at the top of the screen. Again, Jerry press just looks so darn good in press coverage. I mean, he just looks so good there. So I thought that's maybe what he was doing. He started to release to the inside. Jack Campbell sticks with it, starts to kind of bail. But then you see, as Cam Sutton passed that off to help, Kirby does a very nice job just being aware, reading the quarterback's eyes, sticking around with this thing underneath, just not giving it incompletion. Cam Sutton then tries to go plaster it a little bit late on this play, but as you're going to see there, he makes a late reception. Then over top, you're going to see with Will Harris, again, they just have that speedy slot, an outside leverage Will Harris trying to keep up with Palmer, and that's where you really lose the help. But Kirby then releases and tries to get some help over top. We give the late reception there, but I just really like the awareness. I thought it was just kind of a heads-up play from Cam Sutton. You could just see that he's seeing more than just his man. In case you're going to see Will Harris, this is one of the shot plays that actually got over top. It was incomplete on this play. Lions go into that cover one look. They have the underneath defender here, so you're going to see the outside leverage by Tracy Walker, the inside slot, and really where this goes down to me is at the transition point. He's going to push outside immediately, and then right there off the release starts to get vertical. Now Will Harris kind of opens that direction. Then when he goes to open up, I think the transition just takes a little bit too long here. You don't get some of that immediate burst from Tracy Walker or Will Harris, but it's also, to me, you're going against a speedster in the slot, so that's also kind of an issue here as well. And you're going to see then he's going to kind of work this thing back outside, so you take away the outside help. Now it's going to be incomplete on this play, and this was one of those instances, but I also will show an instance where I thought he had good coverage, and the first read was kind of taken away due to Will Harris. I'm going to show one of those plays here in a second. Also, we talked about the interior getting some heat. That's really what this is. Benito Jones, Ali McNeil. Look at Benito Jones, kind of the push, and then pulls him down. Oh my goodness, just snatches that center down. I'd love to see that. Ali McNeil, also, I think he gets the hit here on the play, just bull rushing the right guard. Look at the little like slant rush on this play, right? Works towards the outside, and then boom, stabs that thing right inside, just drives him back like an edge rusher would. Kind of takes on half the right guard here. And again, we were getting some pressure on Cody Mao playing right guard, but boom, right there, he gets the hit on the quarterback. Baker does a nice job of just getting the ball out. But instead of having Tracy drop out and pulling the safety down, the Lions said, okay, let's make a tweak. Maybe it was because of the tunnel. Maybe that was part of the tweak. I mean, it potentially could have been. I don't know for sure, but maybe. But regardless, what they do here is now they're going to put Tracy Walker as that middle field player, and Kirby's going to rotate to the outside. But again, what I like about Kirby is just the way that he plays these things. You can see him kind of slow play here up the seam to cover that up, and then as he reads the quarterback start to go to the outside, he's floating that way, then he can turn it on and step in front of this. Like he's got a really, I think, good angle to the ball here. He just has a good sense for that. On the outside, Cam Sutton, he's that underneath defender. He's going to work upfield with it because there's no underneath threat. They put the running back in the block there. They're not even using that as an option. So maybe that was Tampa Bay saying, look, we know you're not manning up. We know you're not giving us that. So we're just going to sit him in there to block. Okay, let's just make it simple. Just in case you do, we're just going to sit him in there. So then here, I think it was a fine read. You don't really get much of a reroute from Cam Sutton on this play, but he does stick underneath, kind of undercuts this thing. So you force it over top right here when he kind of sticks in that front side hip. But then Kirby Joseph gets over top and it's incomplete. Play that I thought was good coverage from Will Harris, and it forced them to get away from the pass, and that's the Lions going cover one, robber on this play with Tracy Walker. He rolls down, taking away the middle of the field again, and notice the coverage here from Will Harris. He's sitting outside leverage, as you're going to see, watch. Sitting over top, then he's going to work outside of the slot receiver at the snap. They're going to roll down Tracy, so he has some inside help. Everyone else is manned up on this play. I really like watching Cam Sutton here really quickly at the bottom with Mike Evans. You can see him kind of just adapting. Now, Mike Evans got him a few times, but as he starts to kind of slow down, he slows down with it. Then he tries to give him that fake, kind of like throw it inside, tries to get Cam Sutton to bite over top. But Cam Sutton's ability to kind of flip himself around and get back into that play, it wasn't bad. But here at the top, Will Harris gets outside, backpedal, and watch him at the top here. He doesn't bite. He sits down with this thing. He's able to sit down with it, open up, and take it away. And if you notice, Baker seemingly, when he knew this was man, was just sitting there waiting for this ball. He was like, I'm going to throw that out route, man. But Will Harris, give him credit. This was a really good coverage rep. Baker's like, I just don't got it. I think that's where he was looking, and he just didn't have it.
And I think the one big difference I see here is that, as you're noticing, Will Harris is not pressing. It's man coverage. He's sitting outside leverage in a slot where they'll have that two-way go, but he has help inside so he can sit outside. Just like the last play where they beat him over top. The difference is he's not being asked to press. And I think that transition shows up even more because now you need some of that, just quick twitch versus some of these slot receivers to be able to react to some of the tight little movements in such a short yardage space. When he's able to sit off coverage here, sit outside leverage, he's able to pace himself well, sit down, open up with it. Or if he's, inverting a coverage in zone. I really like him in zone. But when he's off here, just looked a little bit more comfortable than being asked to get up and press the receiver. We saw a couple times where that was a little bit of an issue, especially against that kind of speed. But this was good.
Now, hey, Jerry did his thing again on this play, covering vertically with really not a lot of help, so he did his thing again. But I thought that was good, so I had to point that out. However, you also get some more pressure here, a little bit there on the inside, and the Lions actually come up with, I don't know if it was technically a sack, but it was a very minimal gain. And John Kaminsky, you can see again just the awareness, the pocket awareness. We've had to deal with this now for weeks, so hopefully this helps us out going against Lamar next. Dealing with quarterback could take off, we have to be aware of that. Here was the big adjustment to me when we kept doing this look and then dropping Tampa 2. Here again with the safety to the middle of the field. I think the big adjustment here was them saying, okay, that's what they want to do. We're going to set up a complete beater for this coverage. And I think that's what they did on this play. You're going to see it here with the crossing route, then the deep dig route underneath it, and then here they run the deep post. So the post on this play, Cam Sutton, it's going vertical, kind of drops off because, again, he's not playing over top of it. He's playing as like the flat, but he's just getting a ton of depth. Here, this is going to pull, though, Kirby Joseph because you have the two split field safeties. So he's going to, this post is going to pull him on this play just enough so he can't really help out on the crossing route. And then the crossing route's going to work behind Tracy Walker here. Started to go towards Kirby Joseph direction. He's like, okay, that's going that way, so I'm just going to pass it off, let that thing go sit underneath, take away this dig route that's oncoming. But that leaves the receiver to kind of sit down in the zone hole and come up with a reception. Also, we didn't get a ton of pass rush here. We got a little bit of push. The Lions are giving you a lot of the same kind of disguise looks. Now here you get a little bit maybe of a different sense pre-snap. But instead, this time of going into that Tampa 2 look, notice what the Lions do. So you got that, retaliation by Aaron Glenn here. Like, okay, you think this is what's coming? Great. It's not going to happen. Here's what he's going to do. So he's actually going to go into a quarters look. He's going to invert it by dropping out Will Harris to become the natural safety on this play. So he's playing this quarter of the field. Then he's going to bring Tracy Walker, who had been dropping to the middle field. He's going to blitz that guy. So now they're overwhelmed to this side because John Kaminsky crosses the face of the right guard. The edge rusher's taking the right tackle. Now you have a running back 2-on-1 with Alex Anzalone, and that leaves Tracy Walker free, so that allows the ball to come out kind of ugly on this play. So you give him a different look. Now you're also not letting the cornerbacks give it up vertically and making it a 2 whatever it may be on the outside because it's balanced, a 2-by-2 set. They're not allowing, the safeties to be 2-on-1. So instead here, they're going to say cornerbacks stay on top, and you can see both cornerbacks stay on top, which frees up those players on the inside, the safeties, Will Harris and Kirby Joseph, to be a little more aggressive towards those inside receivers, the slots on this play. And here, that's where Kirby nearly gives you his interception. Will Harris starts to kind of open up opposite. Maybe he was trying to sell, like, okay, I'm going over top. He's playing that same look that you've been seeing. And then he opens himself back up. He starts to kind of walk through the zone here, which makes sense, kind of like sit down through the seam of this. But again, the Lions are in that quarters look seemingly defensively here. Now, maybe Will gave up a little bit too much ground, but as you see, when this thing breaks inside, Kirby Joseph sees the ball flutter out, and now he's taken off to jump in front of this. And again, a lot of it was through the blitz that was set up with the guy that hadn't been rushing. He'd been dropping out. He comes off the backside, and all of a sudden, he's there to make a hit on the quarterback. This is one of the better games, I think, as a whole from Cam Sutton. I just thought he looked really good. It wasn't perfect, but I thought there's just a lot of good, especially considering the matchup that he had. It was going to be a tough matchup with these outside receivers. Here, the Lions go cover 3, but again, difference is they're blitzing their safety, so they don't have the safety rolling down. He's just blitzing on the play. So they drop out Hutchinson. They try to overload one side of the field. Now, I thought the blitz on this one just went horribly wrong. Like, someone should have gotten home, but they ran into each other. Someone should have gotten free on this play. But as you see here, when they kind of cross the face with the defensive tackle, and here comes the safety, Alex Anzalone kind of walks into John Kaminsky.
To again try to be set up a 2-on-1 for the running back by pulling that left guard this time, moving him inside by crossing his face. That way they can get 2 free rushers to take one running back and one is free. However, here, number one, the left guard handles it well, right? He doesn't dive all the way inside. He sits back outside. And that, I think, throws off the game that they try to run in the interior. So Kaminsky's tripping over him, try to get to the outside. Then we have 2 players being blocked by 1 on this play. So left guard handles it better. But you'll notice Aaron Glenn a couple plays later, he's bringing it right back off the right side.
The truth is the coverage here from Cam Sutton was beautiful. And we know in a cover 3, the seams are the weakness. And here on a 3-by-1 to balance coverage, that became the weakness. And the Lions slide that direction. Will Harris getting some depth on the seam, but that's just going to open up with its curl route. But look at the recognition. Now, the ball was probably a little bit underthrown here. It probably was. About maybe adjusting techniques and coverage. Here, look at how Jerry Jacobs, the safety, rolls down to blitz. Now you know there's a one-on-one on the outside, but Jerry Jacobs kind of drops out at the snap. So he drops into that half-turn look. He's like, look, you're not getting vertical on me. So look, Baker, you may want to look there, but I'm dropping out. That's not going to be open. I'm sitting on top of that route. There's also a second read in there for Baker Mayfield, which was the tight end. And this is what opened this up. This is why it was open, because there was no safety help, and that's because they ran a crossing route behind the backers in a cover 3 look. So the second read was to go to the tight end. That pulled Tracy away. So now it made a 2-on-1 basically out here, sort of, but with the curl route, they were just trying to hit this seam and maybe sit down Cam Sutton for just a second. But Sutton, recognition, didn't ever hesitate. There was no pause. He just took off, right? He's sitting with it, and then he's taking off. Bam. Okay, I know where this is going. Against the speedy slot, probably a little bit maybe underthrown, a little bit late, jumps in front of it, nearly picks it off. Beautiful play from Cam Sutton. They're not really fooling anybody on this play. They kind of run this one just straight through. There's not a lot of craftiness going on here. Lions are just playing quarters coverage. You can see here and here as well. But Tracy does a really good job playing over top of Will Harris, playing the slot receiver with all that speed, and being able to open himself right there, boom, and then undercut this route, and it's an incomplete pass. That was really nice by Mike Kirby. Maybe he tugged a little bit, but they didn't call nothing on that play. That was nice coverage there. And then Aleem McNeil got a little bit of pressure in the inside here, man. And he went all the way from working outside of the left guard to across the center on this play. Some of that quickness, man. He's just slicing through the offensive line there, getting some heat. I thought, again, he was the most consistent pass rusher, honestly, in this game. Here the Lions went what looked like more of a cover 2 look defensively, and this one, the reason that it seemingly gets open here is because of kind of the way they set this up. So, again, another 2-by-2 look. Lions end up getting pressure, which is the key here. Another little wrinkle. They bring Will Harris off the slot. They're also going to bring Derek Barnes. So they bring 2 guys off this backside, and that's where you get the pressure on this play. You get a free rusher. You clear out the offensive lineman. All of a sudden, boom, there goes running back step stepping in, but Will Harris is unblocked on this play, and that's because you're bringing him off the slot. So he's going to race through and just take that away. Then defensively, and you're allowed to do this when you're up big and you're trying to not just give up a touchdown, seemingly went to more of a cover 2 look instead of their normal quarters. And to me, that's where things got a little bit dicey here, and that's why Kirby maybe gave this up like he did, because instead of running it like they have been with the slot receiver the last play going and running the post route, he's actually going to walk it up and then he's going to break the out route. Because of that, Jerry's going to sit down. Once that happens, now the reason I think Kirby overreacts and gets over top of this is because this receiver now has inside leverage. So if he breaks a corner route, he's outside of that. So he could be thinking, look, I got to get over top. Now he probably would have had Jerry's help, but he's thinking, okay, I got to get over top. So as he starts to do that, it breaks back inside against a lot of speed. It's back inside, and I think that was Chris Godwin on the play from the outside. Now all of a sudden he's a little bit late in his transition right there, boom, and he's beat over top. So he ends up giving up that route, but again, it was the pressure. It was hiding the pressure, and on this play, we actually missed a sack. Like Will Harris straight up should have had a sack on this play. He ended up missing the sack, but it rushed the pass, and Derek Barnes did a nice job, I think, of running through the running back, but sticking with it. Because he shrugged him off and got back into this, Baker was never comfortable, right? It wasn't like he could dodge the sack, set up, and let this thing go. Derek Barnes is still bad on. He throws the running back off, and he's like, wait a minute, I'm still here, I'm going to hit you. So now he's like, oh, dang. And then he just floats it up there, and that's where you get the bad throw, and that's where you get the incomplete pass. You also got a guy working here on the interior as well. But to me, that was the big thing. Levi also had a little pass rush win, I think, on the last play of the game, but that was the big thing to me. That's why that really opened up. So you can see it was kind of a cat and mouse game, it felt like. Lions did some things, and then Tampa Bay would have a response and like, oh, okay, that works. Then Lions would have to adjust to it, which we see every week. But then also a lot of plays, it was like, man, guys are just coming through making plays. Jerry had another really strong game. The press looks so good. Cam Sutton, I think, had one of his strongest games because you saw so many different aspects. The interior, I think, won the day. Aleem McNeil specifically had the most consistent day to me, personally. Thought there was some hit and miss there too, still. John Kaminsky, some hit and miss. There was some hit and miss throughout the defensive line. John Kaminsky did a lot of good too, so let me not just make it sound like that. But the point is, I thought he was the guy that was super consistent. Alex Anzalone was great in this game. I'm very excited about Campbell. I didn't throw the clips in here, but Campbell's got something, man. You know, all the stuff that you like about him athletically is there. You can see it. Like, obviously, his ability to play different spots, but the ability to stop on the move, right? The body control in space is just ridiculous. He's got something there. I'm excited about him as time goes on. It seems like his role is just quietly getting bigger and bigger, and I think it's going to continue that way. But overall, man, this was another strong game from defense. The stats stay it, and now we have Baltimore, which will be our biggest challenge in terms of containing the quarterback, because you know he's going to take out a few times. He's going to get big chunks because it's just going to happen, but we've worked for this with multiple different matchups. Certain guys run more than others, but we've had to every week say, man, we got to keep him in the pocket. We got to rush a certain way. The pass rush lanes have to be perfect, basically. Lamar's going to test that more than anybody has. And the Lions don't play a spy, so it's really going to test it.
As always, I want to give a shout out to BetUS. Use that top link in the description, or just go to betus.com/DoseOfDion. Marcellus Wiley will pop up, and he's like, hey, you deposit at least $100, you get a 125% match. We're partnering with BetUS for the season. And I put that little thing in there because it's dropped today. It's a very popular bet right now, is people are taking Jared Goff plus 2,000 to win the NFL MVP. There are tons of bets coming in. It was posted by Bleacher Report, so I just shared that with you guys just to let you know. Like, hey, what do you think about this? And also notice we're creeping up on those NFC odds. It's still too low for me, but we're creeping up there.
I'm looking forward to it. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.